Hi, I'm Chase Rodriguez, treasurer of the Climate Change Outreach Club, and I'll be speaking on why climate change is important. First, I'd like to give a little information about the club. The Climate Outreach Club is a joint club between UAA and APU. It has a focus on getting college-level students out and ready to spark a change in the local government and spread awareness of human impact on the environment. And if this sounds like something you would like to do, contact Emily Grant, Tyree Brown, or myself, Chase Rodriguez. Let's talk about why climate change is important. Climate change is an important pressing issue that is a controversial issue based on whether people believe in it or not. Climate change is the change in the global climate patterns, which have been apparent from the mid to late 20th century and is attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels. Climate change is an important issue to talk about as it has an impact on human health, agriculture, food security, water supply, energy, and ecosystems. The side of science is showing us that climate change is real and an important topic through thousands of studies conducted by researchers around the world who have documented increases in temperatures at Earth's surface, as well as in the atmosphere of the oceans. Human activities like the emissions of heat-trapping greenhouse gases from fossil fuels, deforestation, and land use change are the primary driver of climate change. It affects us through extreme weather events and wildfires, decreased air quality, and diseases transmitted by insects, food, and water. Disruptions to agriculture are increasing and becoming more severe, a trend that will diminish the security of food supply. Water quality is diminishing in many areas, in part due to increasing sediment and contamination concentrations after heavy downpours. We've asked a few people on campus what their views were on climate change and why they believe in their stance. We asked them 3 questions. Do you believe in climate change? Why? What's your evidence? Why is this important?
Hello, I am John Clinton, sophomore at APU, Outdoor Studies.
Alright, John Clinton of APU. Do you believe in climate change and why?
I do. I think there is enough evidence that has been provided by the scientific community as well as the Earth, and just data that we've gathered that provides enough evidence that I believe in it, so that the climate changes all the time.
What is some evidence that you've seen that proves this?
I've seen some nature documentaries that depict the industrial, the influence of the Industrial Revolution and how that affects the greenhouse gases and the warming of the atmosphere, as well as the thinning of the ice that we have, mainly our glaciers and the fresh water, how those are all receding, as well as like erosion of, just trafficking, tourism. I'm sure there's more things that I could pull out of my mind, but that's the things that come to the top.
Alright, and why is this topic important to you?
This topic is important to me. It's cliche to say it's because it's for the youth, but it is for future generations. We do have a responsibility, I think. Maybe not to be, I think we should all be stewards of the land. I think all humans can be and are when they are born, that we kind of separate ourselves through society or our cultural norms, at least here in the United States or lower 48 typically. But I think the Earth is super important, and it's holding all the bioavailable life and non-bioavailable life that we have, and that's incredibly important.
Alright, thank you, John.
Yes.
Is this thing on?
Yeah, it's on.
Hi, my name's Ben Hahn. I'm the Dean of Students here at Alaska Pacific University. And we're here in my office with Tyree, and he's going to ask me some questions.
Okay. Do you believe in climate change and why?
Do I believe in climate change and why? Yes, I believe that climate change happens. I believe that is the case because the evidence for climate change occurring over long periods of time has been overwhelming, and all the studies that I've read are pretty convincing to me.
Okay, do you have any evidence to back this claim up?
Do I personally have evidence of climate change?
Verbally or...
I think the most convincing piece of evidence that I've seen has been glacial studies and the geological evidence that have shown ice cap expansion and retreat over many millennia.
this is an important topic from today's changing society?
Yes, I mean, sure, climate change is important to study because the ramifications of climate change are vast and could have a large impact on the human experience.
All right.
Do you believe in climate change, and if so, why?
I do believe in climate change. I think it's a really bad problem. You can tell by the ice caps are melting. Places with snow don't have snow. Places without snow now have snow. Just getting a little topsy-turvy.
Why do you think climate change is an important issue?
We only have one Earth. There is no planet B. I think we have to save the one that we have.
Do you believe in climate change, and why, if so, if you do?
Yes, because climate change is something we've documented throughout geological history, and today we're seeing symptoms of climate change in both modern weather patterns and changing environments.
What are your ethical viewpoints on climate change?
I think that climate change is a tricky subject, especially when looking at developed versus undeveloped nations, because places like the United States who have the means to do something can, but other places where they depend on less clean energy don't necessarily have the option to change the way they live just because they don't have the means to pay for new types of energy. So it's really tricky.
So why is climate change important?
Well, the climate really affects a lot of ecosystems if it changes enough. Like, for example, up here with the sea ice as it's melting, we're starting to see that indigenous peoples are being relocated and they have less access to traditional foods of sources like whales and seals. But even further into the interior, if you look at wetlands, as it gets warmer out, those wetlands dry up and then animals like moose who depend on that habitat have to relocate or they starve. And this isn't something that is endemic to Alaska. We're also seeing this in several different environments in different parts of the globe. So if we don't curb it, we're going to start seeing a pretty dramatic change in how different animals live in their environments, and that's going to affect us.
All the individuals we asked on campus were using the logical and statistical reasons of the supported on the science side. Most of the arguments in the presentation were found for the idea that humans are the cause for global warming and look at global warming as a man-made disaster rather than a natural occurrence that was sped up by man. Most of the arguments tried to appeal to authority by saying things like they read a study or saw this documentary. Some of the arguments gave a point with no evidence, using vagueness to make their point. The counter-argument includes that Earth's climate has always warmed and then cooled. The 20th century rise in global temperatures is within the bounds of natural temperature fluctuations over the past 3,000 years. The human-caused CO2 is absorbed by Earth's carbon sinks. The heat increases is caused by the sun's heat and mass extinctions. The counter-argument is saying that all the statistics are shown to be regular and are not affected by humans at all. Reasons, evidence, and beliefs. When we asked the people we were interviewing on why they think this way, many said because we can look at science and see that it's hurting our planet. When asked to back this with some evidence, it took them a second to think about it. And when they spoke, they would say that they read something somewhere that proves their point. And when asked about their belief, nobody took too long to answer. Most said that they believe so because there's evidence to say that they are fully and 100% believe in climate change. And therefore, since their beliefs are backed by evidence and logic, it makes their reasons for their beliefs logical and sound. I hope whatever you believe in is backed by evidence. Thank you for watching this presentation.